Hi there, it's Carrie from Stamp with CT. Happy Wednesday. It's time for our Facebook Live. Super glad to have you here with me. It is already October the 15th, y'all. What is happening? Good grief, the time is flying by. So if you're catching this part of the video, you're probably watching the replay. Have a lot of people that do that, and I am so appreciative of you watching the replay. Be sure to type in replay so I know you were part of the replay crew. I'm going to adjust just a tiny bit. Sorry about that. And be sure to hit the like button, that thumbs up or that heart when you come in, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I appreciate that so much. It helps me in the algorithms. It helps other people see our content. And we work really hard to bring you fun projects, so we appreciate that help. You're awesome. I usually do have some friends that are able to hop on live. That's always exciting as well. So, like I said, this is Carrie from Stamp with CT. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Texas. And I just love to paper craft. I love Stampin' Up! Love our paper, stamps, dies, punches, ink pads, the cardstock. I especially love our paper though. And today I'm going to be using some beautiful designer series paper to make a project with you. Unfortunately, it is a sympathy card. I have needed some of those lately. And that's not my favorite type of card to make, but they are necessary. And definitely when we suffer a loss, we lose a loved one, it's so important that we know that other people are thinking about us and that they care about us. So I feel like sympathy cards are probably one of the most important. I love sending all types of cards, but to receive a sympathy card just lets you know that somebody is thinking about you and cares about you in a time that's really difficult. So they're important cards to make. I find them challenging. What I have found is keeping it as simple as possible is usually what works for me. If you have any tips, I'd love to hear them. If you've made a sympathy card recently or you have a great layout that you want to share, be sure to drop it in the comments, because I'm always looking for ideas for sympathy cards, and I know other people are too. So we're going to be using some gorgeous paper called Gathering Together. And I want to say this is an online exclusive. I'm pretty sure that it is. So you can hop over to my website at stampwithct.stampinup.net and you'll be able to see this gorgeous paper. Let's start with that. I was going to start with the stamps, but let me pull that out from under everything and we'll take a look at it right quick. So this does have some gold foiling, fabulous fall colors, but just a very beautiful fall paper. And I purchased this because I realized I had not really ordered anything for fall. Isn't that pretty? And I wanted something in my stash so we could make a couple of fall cards, autumn cards, and I could use it for thank you cards as well. And I have a really fun project we're going to be using it for later in November. Now let me go ahead and turn this over so you can see the B side, because it's beautiful as well. There's some pattern to these papers. They're not just like the flat Cajun Craze, early espresso, very vanilla. And then these two I'd have to say are my favorite. Love this plaid, so fun. But look at this beautiful piece as well. Just so gorgeous, isn't it? So Gathering Together Designer Series paper is what I'm going to be featuring. And we're even stamping our greeting on Designer Series paper, and we are cutting our focal image from Designer Series paper. So don't forget that you can do that with your papers. Adds lots more interest to your project. Really fun look. So this stamp set that I'm using today, Peace on Earth, it does have some Christmas type sentiment, but it also has a beautiful prayer and a beautiful sympathy sentiment included. I love this set and I have used it a bunch already. So it is really, really a nice set to have. If you need those type of cards, if you know, kind of the hugs sentiment as well. When you're wanting to encourage someone, support someone, this is a really nice stamp set. I've got to figure out a place to put things that I'm done with. I accidentally, like you have to go into Facebook to go live and, you know, hit a couple of things. And as I was putting my phone up in the stand, I dropped it. And so, kind of got my heart beating just a little bit, y'all. Now, this is a beautiful set from the mini catalog, the Christmas Greenery. It's got a couple pieces of foliage. It's got some of those image dies that line up with the stamp set. It's got that cute little bow that we have used several times. But what I'm actually using this die set for today is this foliage piece. And you'll be able to see it better once I get it on the card. I realize that's kind of a dark on dark background, but this just looks so pretty, cut from the Designer Series paper. It's a pretty, pretty leaf there. Let me put this down. I've got so much going on in this room, y'all. And then, of course, I'm going to pull in my Stylish Shapes, and I'm using one of the circles to cut from Designer Series paper, a nice circle to add my sentiment with. So you'll see that as well. So I don't have a sample for you. We're just going to jump straight on into the card. Get all my ducks in a row over here. All right, so I chose a top folding card from Early Espresso cardstock, and it is 11 by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. I'm just going to use my bone folder to burnish that fold a little bit. I just love that that helps the card lay flat. I think it just really is nice to go ahead and burnish like that. And then I have a piece of basic white cardstock, and I've got just a little scrap of that Designer Series paper, that brown that has just kind of those splotches on it, and I'm going to add this piece to the bottom here of this piece of basic white. Now I like to put just a thin bead of glue across the bottom of the cardstock, and then I can add, and really I could use either side of the Designer Series paper, but I'm going to go with the brown. And I love using little strips that you end up with after you've created projects. I love using these little strips up, whether it's on the inside of the card or on the envelope. Sometimes you can do that, like you've got your envelope, you can run that strip down the side of your envelope and put your return address on the back. That always looks pretty. And it just really helps to bring the outside of the card to the inside, make it a little bit more cohesive. And I don't always decorate my envelopes. You know, for a while we kind of had a little campaign where we said no naked envelopes. No, just plain Jane envelopes. We decorated them up. And I kind of go in cycles with stuff like that, I find. So I haven't been decorating my envelopes a lot, but I do especially love to stamp a little Christmas tree or ornament something like that on my Christmas cards. But I'll tell you, when I go to the mailbox and there's a handmade card in there and the envelope is decorated, I know immediately that it's going to be amazing when I open it up. So it really does make a difference. Okay, let's set this aside for just a second. And the next thing we need to do is bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then I'm going to put the platform down. I probably should have put the paper in the folder first, but I think you're still going to be able to see it. This folder is called Exposed Brick, and I just want to add a little bit of texture to the Designer Series paper that I'm using. And it's this piece, which is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous floral, but I really want this to add a layer that I can feature that beautiful foliage with. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this paper in my exposed brick embossing folder. Really just anywhere is fine. Put that on my platform, and I'm putting it in with that folded edge in. I want to make sure that I've got it squared up on my platform so that the edges of the embossing folder do not get harmed in any way. Let me bring this in because that shows the exposed brick a little bit better. And then we're going to use this plate on top because this is a 3D embossing folder. So you want to use that gray plate just with the platform. It puts the perfect amount of pressure. Hear that little pop? That means I've come all the way to the end of the platform. And when I'm embossing like this, I like to go back the other way as well, just to make sure it puts a good amount of pressure and really does get that embossing in there for me. Did you know that folded up? Isn't that awesome for story? So we'll go ahead and take that piece of paper out. And it's very subtle. I'll bring it over here onto the card base. You know, it's just a subtle bit to it, but I like the texture that it adds. And we're going to kind of position it right about there. I'm going to figure out where I want everything, and then we'll come back and adhere everything down. Now, I took the textured notes dies, and I cut a piece of the Cajun Craze Designer Series paper because I thought I was going to put that right about there, and that would be really pretty with the texture, the way that it not only die cuts, but it also embosses an edge there. And now I think I'm going to tear it. I think I want to tear it instead. So here's the cool thing. This is big enough that I can kind of change directions with what I was wanting to do. I can put that down, see if I like it, and I don't know. I wish I could see your comments. I wish I could let y'all vote. I don't know if I like it or not, but I have options that way. I really think I'm going to go with the torn edge. I'm going to bring my sentiment right down there just to give you some idea of what the card's going to look like. And then this is going to be on that embossed layer, right side up. How about that? So, just to kind of give you an idea of the layout, now I'm kind of going back toward just that subtle texture from those dies. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. Y'all let me know which way you would have done it, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so probably right about here. And I'll turn that sideways, add just a little bit of glue, or a lot of it. That was a lot. Way too much glue, Carrie. I'll line this up on my card base. Get a little border from the edge. Hope that the glue doesn't squish out the side. I think that's pretty good. And then we're going to add that over it. So it's hard to put glue on this pretty paper. And we've got several packs of paper right now that have the gold foiling. And I have to say, that is just really something I love. That gold foiling. Oops, I'm way off. Let me get it. Let me get it over here where I want it. That's better. I just wanted that little bit of the Cajun Craze. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Just a little bit of Cajun Craze. It's going to be up above there. Got my positioning right on the edge, don't I? It's gonna work though. We're living right, y'all. Let's go ahead and add our little piece of foliage. And I'm going to bring some glue dots in to do that because I don't want this adhered down completely. I'm just going to take some of the areas that have a little bit bigger spot on this die cut and add a couple of glue dots. I just don't want it glued down completely. So I'm just bringing the paper to the glue dot, and that way the glue dot doesn't get all sticky and gummy from the warmth from my hands. We want that probably right about there. And by doing that, some of the bits of the leaf do stand up just a tiny bit, and I like that look. Now, if you want to adhere it all the way down, you can do that too. Okay, it's coming together, y'all. Again, this is a piece of designer series paper as well that we're going to be stamping on. And I'm using Early Espresso ink because it is a photopolymer stamp. I do have a piercing mat that I'll stamp on. I'm going to work my way around the ink pad, kind of turning the stamp a little bit. What's great about photopolymer is you can see through it and you can tell that this is nice and inked up. We'll go right about there. Stamp that down. Leave it about 5 seconds so the ink can transfer. I'm over just a little bit to that side, but I think that's okay. We're going to be able to use that. And let me bring my chamois in, get a little bit of ink off my finger and also off of my stamp. That chamois is pretty well loved, isn't it? But it still works just fine. Now, one of my favorite products from Stampin' Up! Is Stampin' Dimensionals, and it really is one of the reasons that I joined Stampin' Up! So many years ago, is because I loved these and I wanted a discount on them. When you use a bunch like we do, every little bit helps, doesn't it? Although you do get 300. That's my stylus for scoring. That's not my piercing tool. This will work a lot better. I do get some questions sometimes when we do videos and reels. People want to know what this tool is, and it's called a take your pick tool, and it has several different attachments to it. Missing one there. It has several different attachments to it. It's really cool. You just turn that, and like there's a little spatula. Down here is the putty end, and then it does have the stylus tool that you can add to it. There's a little add-on set that has an X-Acto knife. So it's just an awesome tool to have. Now I want to place this right about there. I want to make sure I'm covering the very end of that and also there. Oh, look how pretty that is, y'all. Very simple, I know, but I think it's very pretty too. It does the job that I needed to do as far as sending sympathy. And now to finish it off, I'm going to bring in some really pretty, and these are called streaked dots. They've got kind of a little bit of gold over them. And we'll bring some of them in. Gosh, let me see. I think some of the bigger ones maybe. So that's where, even though my sentiment is not centered up straight exactly like I wanted, I can always bring an embellishment in to kind of help balance things out. I think I want to come right about in here with an embellishment too. maybe up a tiny bit. And then let's see, maybe right down here. And I don't think it would hurt to put 5 embellishments on this card, just the way that it's all laid out. Oops. I lost that one. Let me stop and think about where I want to put it. Maybe right here too. One more. Let's go down here. Okay. So that is our easy but so pretty sympathy card using the Gathering Together Designer Series paper. That paper is just so stunning. And this is a very easy card to make. But like I said, I think it does its job. We kept it simple and just used some neutral colors. I think that helps too. So let me know what you think. I do have a couple of pieces of Happy Mail to share with y'all today. The first one came from my best friend, LaDonna, and she said she went through her stash and she found her fall cards, so she popped a stack of fall cards in the mail a week or so ago. Isn't that pretty? I just love this. I love the metallic element. Just lovely. And then I also got a Halloween card from my sweet friend Debbie. Isn't that cute? And I love this. It opens up. It's a fun fold. And this piece of DSP is part of the base. Isn't that cool how she did that? That's a great idea. So just a small little strip there to add that DSP. So, so cute. So both of these cards will be on my Stamp with CT Facebook page for my Mailbox Monday, next Monday. And I just take a picture of each so you can see them a little bit closer. So definitely show those girls some love. I appreciate getting Happy Mail so much. All right, I think that's it for today, y'all. Kind of short and sweet, but that's okay. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. Hope y'all have a great day. And if you create a sympathy card like this, or have inspired you to create something else, I would love it if you would drop a picture of it in the comments. That just really makes me happy, because Dale and I love inspiring you, and that really is the main reason why we do all of this. But we appreciate you. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.